interesting fight coming up this weekend at flyweight. It feels like laying down the Mirror Force card. Remember when you played that game when you were a kid? Yu-Gi-Oh! It feels
the owner
like
just
that.
passed away, actually. That's sad stuff.
So rest in peace. But it does feel like a trap card type of fight. We have Danger, Matt Schnell, taking on the Tibetan Eagle, Sumudaerji, a guy who came into the UFC off a loss with WLF Wars, and if I've ever seen a red flag, that is it. He loses to Louis Smolka, a giant red flag, and since then, he's gone on a win streak. And for Sumudaerji, a guy who had so many early wins in his MMA career, it wasn't really likely that we'd be on this path, but he landed great volume of straight shots against Andrei Sukumtoth, knocked out Malcolm Gordon with those same straight shots, and then he gets a win over Zaruk Adashev with more volume striking, some back foot striking in that matchup. Now, that fight against Zaruk Adashev was a year and a half ago, but for Sumudaerji, he was supposed to take a fight not that long ago. Opponent couldn't make the walk. That opponent, Manel Kape. Nevada State Athletic Commission said, we don't want to see that pulsing action in your bloodstream. So Manel gets a fight over his last time out in Singapore, and he's probably not going to fight Nevada for a little bit, where the UFC has most of their fights at the Apex. So for Sumudaerji, good shot against Matt Schnell, a guy who unfortunately had lost his mother in the fight camp leading up to his fight against Brandon Royval. And for the people out there on Twitter that say one-round fights never get fight of the nights, Matt Schnell's fight against Brandon Royval was a one-round fight of the night where he drops Royval and then he decides to play touch butt in the park on the ground and get submitted.
I'm sorry, but I have to throw you under the bus a little bit. You were a firm believer of one-round fights should not get fight of the nights.
No, they should. It's just they don't happen very often, and some of them, I like to see them play out longer. That's all.
I'm a big fan of a one-round FOTN. This is a weird fight, though, because these guys are the exact opposites of each other when you think about their resume and their record. Matt Schnell has fought some of the best fighters in this division. Fought guys like Pantoja, fought guys like Brandon Royval. Like, those are two of the best fighters in this division.
Bontarin's another loss, but so is Rob Font at 135.
So he's only lost to amazing fighters, whereas Sumudaerji has been waiting to break through the ice for the very longest time. Now, Hector Sandoval's not great.
That's the other one, yeah.
Well, he has a very bad shin. I'm going to get to that, don't worry. So for Matt Schnell, what I do really like is his technique. He does have great submission ability. He does have good striking when you just look at it in a freeze frame. But again, we talk about one of these guys every single card. How good is he at mixing his martial arts? It's like water and oil when you look at it. They are very two distinguished parts of his game to where, okay, Matt Schnell's boxing, he looks good. And then it's, oh, wait, now he's getting out grappled. Like, a lot of Matt Schnell's fights, he looks good until he gets hit by a very big shot, and then the whole entire complexity of the fight changes. And fighting a guy like Sumudaerji, who moves, I don't know if he moves too much just yet, if we're being honest. It's still something I'm trying to figure out. I think it's going to be really interesting to see if Matt Schnell can corner Sumudaerji, up against the cage, because I think that's going to be really important. Sumudaerji's a difficult guy to hit in the middle of the cage because he does move his feet so well. So I really do think Matt Schnell's whole game plan is going to have to figure out, okay, how do I not fight in the whole entire octagon? How do I just pick a corner of it? If I can just pick that corner to kind of box Sumudaerji in, I do think Matt Schnell can have a lot of success, but he has to catch a guy who might have some of the best feet we've seen in the division.
Yeah, the really weird thing about this is Matt Schnell used to train out of American Top Team. Sumudaerji's focused his American training at American Top Team with guys like Alessandro Pantoja, with Adriano Moraes, the champ over with one championship, who's going to be fighting Demetrius Johnson on like Amazon Prime with one championship, because they never have fights anymore and they try and do these fancy things with all the money they have. But
I like KSW a lot more is all I'm going to say.
Where's the fun stuff? One championship. Let's do Big Brother. That's not fights. Let's do video games. But where are the video games,
Don't they do like
Matt?
what was the show with Donald Trump? I can't
Big Brother. Or not Big Brother, sorry. The Apprentice. That's what I mean.
Yeah, Big Brother. That's what I mean. Apprentice,
The Apprentice.
That's very strange that it does seem like most of the time I hear about one championship, it's not about the fighting, it's about the other stuff.
I like burgers at Harvey's. It's a Canadian thing, but they throw a lot of shit at the fan. They do deep fried pickles. They do like frozen Red Bulls now. Just stick to what you're good at. One championship. Put on fun fights. Don't do the rest of the crap.
Now Burger King's talking to me, but that's another point.
But when I look at this one, Matt, for Matt Schnell, I mean, he is the underdog in this matchup, but let the cat out of the bag early because this fight's at flyweight. Making weight at flyweight's a thing for Matt Schnell. Making weight at bantamweight is as well, so it definitely drains a lot out of him, but I just look at this one as Sumudaerji has better footwork. Matt Schnell, when he turns the danger high voltage on and he decides to press forward, he has a lot of success. He doesn't do it very often because he's had his chin checked, so normally he's a defensive boxer. And that's worked. That's won him fights, but The trouble is, like, I look at Matt Schnell, you look at the split decision win he has over Tyson Nam, kind of weird that it's even a split decision. I thought Schnell won that one comfortably, 2-1. And then his other win, his last big win, was a submission win over forever wrestler but never striker, Jourdain Espinoza. I look at the losses, Bontorin, and again, Pantoja, where he gets finished about 2.5 years ago. I don't like a guy with a suspect chin down a weight class, but I preface this by saying it feels like mirror force in a trap fight because Matt Schnell is the more complete mixed martial artist than Sumudaerji from what I've seen. And Sumudaerji, when he was fighting on the Chinese regional scene with WLF Wars,
I didn't think he was great.
Oh, yeah, I didn't either, and I didn't think he was going to be much in the UFC. He was also bantamweight back then, but he was a younger guy cutting down to 125, so you can realize it at 125 versus Matt Schnell at 125.
Look, I'm not above giving myself credit when I think a prospect is going to be good and they end up being really good. I'm not above also telling you guys when I'm absolutely wrong. I didn't think Sumudaerji would be a fighter in the UFC for more than like 2 or 3 fights. I really thought he did move too much on his feet, didn't sit down enough on his shots, and he is a natural striker, so I just didn't know how he was going to be able to get results at the UFC level. But throughout his last 3 fights, he has shown the ability to not only make adjustments in camp, but make adjustments in fights, and I do think that's going to be the important part of this fight, because let's say Matt Schnell is able to corner him. He is doing a good job getting him up against the cage. I don't think Sumudaerji is the type of fighter at this stage of his career who's going to go, okay, I lost that first round. Let's go back to doing the exact same thing I did in the last round. I really do like the footwork out of Sumudaerji, but again, I have to preface that by saying he might almost do it too much, and I do think that that could get him caught if he does end up fighting a Pantoja next or someone like that, because that's the problem with Matt Schnell. Yes, he's lost to a lot of the better fighters in this division, but the second you beat him, you then have to go on and fight some of those great fighters in the division, and even if you really like Sumudaerji at this stage of his career, and let's say he knocks out Matt Schnell in the first round, I still don't think I've seen enough to say, oh wow, he can go in there with an Askar Askarov or an Alejandro Pantoja. He's still probably going to need a few more wins of those like 5 to 10 guys, I would say, for him to finally get into the elite. But I really do think this fight against Matt Schnell is the perfect matchmaking, because if Schnell wins, okay, he might not be of the top tier flyweights, but he's good enough to beat most guys in the rankings. And on the flip side, Sumudaerji could get the biggest win of his career, which could absolutely set him off.
Alessandro Pantoja says no to that one. It seems like a silly fight. And for Sumudaerji, after his last win over Zaruk Adashev, he's taken about 1.5 years off because he had a knee injury that required surgery. So he was getting ready for that Manel Kopp.
And with a guy who moves a lot, that's concerning.
And Manel Kopp, definitely a bigger name and a bigger fighter at 125 in terms of recognition and win recognition than Matt Schnell. But we'll focus on it from an odds perspective. Sumudaerji open to -230, -254. Schnell open +195, +205 right now. We have a look at the votes on Topology. Surprise SDR to you. I'm going to say over under 70% Sumudaerji.
I think it'll be closer because I think Schnell's the more known commodity.
79% Sumudaerji on 690 total votes. You got 39% by decision, 51% by knockout. For the 21% that have Schnell, 55% by decision, 29% by submission.
I'm surprised.
Obviously, Smolka was able to out-wrestle Sumudaerji in Sumudaerji's UFC debut, and he submitted him an opportunity for Schnell. I think Schnell could have success with the boxing. I think he could have success with the takedowns and the submissions. I think 125 is a tough cut, and I think Sumudaerji with his length over most fighters, but not in this fight because they're both going to match up height-wise and reach-wise the same. I'm just eager to see these guys on Friday. And again, I said trap card at the start of the week. I feel like Matt Schnell could win as an underdog, so it does scare me making a pick on this one.
So when I said Matt Schnell only lost to elite, I saw you go, And I was going to get to this point. Hector Sandoval's not good at all and knocked out Matt Schnell with a backwards hammer fist that he only landed one time after Schnell was going for a heel hook. I'm not confident in Matt Schnell's chin at this weight class whatsoever, and I do really worry about him fighting an accurate striker who can strike off the back foot, who does use his movement very well, because that's the thing. If Sumudaerji's feet were even 5% slower, I do think that there's a world where Matt Schnell is able to corner him. I just think that that footwork is going to help him evade a lot of the offense of Matt Schnell throughout this matchup.
Both of us going with Sumudaerji. I'm in agreement there. I like those shots, and I really do like that left that he throws straight down that pipe, and there's a lot of power on those shots as well. So both of us going with the Tibetan Eagle in this matchup.
Really fun
but
fight.
Again, and a lot of red flags too. Schnell's got a great opportunity to showcase some of his grappling in this matchup, and for Sumudaerji, he gets to show some wrinkles that we might not have seen yet in the UFC tenure. Let us know down below in the comment section who you have and some big time fights left on this card that you're not going to want to miss. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, we always say.
Let's get into it.